as someone who was a state legislator and as a lawyer, I have never seen this kind of tragedy up close. And even still to this day, as we remember these 49 souls, these 49 angels that we lost, and the 68 injured 2 years ago at the Pulse nightclub tragedy in Orlando, we still as a community are trying to understand this carnage, this loss, this tragedy. Our heart still aches, Mr. Speaker. This was the single deadliest known violent attack on the LGBTQ community, an attack on our Latino community, attack on our African American community, attack on the whole Orlando community. And along with, until last September, it was the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. But Mr. Speaker, they've gotten even deadlier with Las Vegas just recently. Yet our community showed its resiliency and strength in the face of adversity. Orlando Strong is more than just a hashtag. It's our commitment to pledge to stand up to hate and to gun violence. Central Floridians stand stronger than ever. Over the past 2 days, I've had the honor of attending events with both Congresswoman Murphy, Congresswoman Demings, and Congressman Mark Takano, co-chair of the LGBT Congressional Caucus. We had an LGBTQ roundtable with local groups. We visited the Pulse Memorial. We helped hand out scholarships under the 49 Fund scholarship ceremony. We toured the GLBT Center, a rally on action for gun violence, went to the Orange County History Museum to see the history of those days, and I joined with Congresswoman Val Demings, my colleague here today, to hear the 49 church bells ring for the 49 victims at the First United Methodist Church in downtown Orlando. Today we honor the 49 lives taken by displaying love, acceptance, and kindness. But most importantly, we honor them with action. That's been the theme over the last couple days. We honor them with action. I'd like to recognize and focus my comments in large part tonight in following local groups and survivors in Central Florida who 2 years later continue to transform their grief and mourning into positive change for all. We cannot change the tragedy of that happened. We cannot change the past. We cannot bring back those 49 angels that we lost. But we can give meaning to this great tragedy through action to make sure these types of shootings no longer are commonplace in our society. We honor them with action. First, I'd like to talk about Brandon Wolf. Brandon, a native of Oregon, was one of the survivors during the Pulse nightclub shootings on June 12th, 2 years ago today. Brandon moved to Orlando in 2008 after attending the University of Oregon Political Science School. He now lives in Tallahassee, where he's become a leading activist in LGBTQ issues and minority youth. After the shooting, Brandon and his friends launched the Drew Project, named after Drew Lennon, an LGBTQ nonprofit organization on a mission to spread love across the nation. And I got to meet with Drew's mother this past week at our LGBT roundtable, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. The advocacy group sponsors gay-straight alliances in public schools and offers scholarships to help send future leaders to college. In August of last year, Brandon joined the Board of Advisors for a political action committee dedicated to ending gun violence. Following the Pulse tragedy, Brandon was inspired by Drew's words, "We never say I love you enough." He travels the nation speaking on behalf of LGBTQ youth, education, common sense gun legislation, and the future of intersectionality are some of the topics he discusses, spreading the message of unconditional love and inclusion. I attended the Pulse rally to honor them with action yesterday, organized by Brandon at Orlando City Hall. An amazing event that we'll talk a little bit more about tonight. Another call for action, to honor them with action, was the OnePulse Foundation. The OnePulse Foundation was established by the owners of Pulse nightclub, including Barbara Poma, to create a sanctuary of hope following the shooting. The foundation supports the design, construction, maintenance, and operation of a memorial and museum to remember the Pulse nightclub shooting. They also work towards giving out community grants to care for the victims' families and the survivors. The foundation has currently established an interim memorial, which serves as a sanctuary of quiet reflection and love, dedicated to honoring the senseless loss of innocent life. There is hope to create an official permanent museum in the future, something that I look forward to working on with my colleagues, Congresswoman Demings and Congresswoman Murphy. The OnePulse Foundation is also creating annual 49 individual college scholarships named in honor of each victim and designed for their specific vocations, hobbies, or life aspirations. Through their work, the OnePulse Foundation makes sure that the names and legacies of each of the victims, the 49 victims, these angels that we lost that night, live on and are never forgotten. I'd also like to talk about our QLatinx community. Latinx is a term referring to our younger, next generation of our Latin community. In fact, many of our more senior Hispanics think, what the heck are these crazy kids talking about with Latinx? And it's a self-styling of folks who are millennials and who are Generation X, who are Latin. And it's amazing that this name has come into the common nomenclature now. Really amazing, and a testament to this kind of intersectionality that we saw that night, that we lost so much of, but that is now being highlighted as a result. QLatinx was founded in response to the mass shooting and act of hate that occurred on June 12th, 2 years ago today, at the Pulse nightclub. Its mission is to bring together and empower the most marginalized members of our community, establish affirming and supportive healing relationships and spaces, build a strong and united community, and work towards a society free of fear, violence, and hate. Through their program of social justice education, they've built a supportive infrastructure, address inequity, and promote inclusionary practices for local leadership and partnership agencies. QLatinx strives to give a voice to the community through their Immigration Committee and HIV Prevention Education Committee. QLatinx makes sure to prioritize issues that affect both the LGBTQ and Latino communities. But it gets at this bigger issue of intersectionality. And I know when you look at our 49 victims, just like the rainbow flag that honors our LGBT community, it's a rainbow of individuals, a rainbow of backgrounds. And it is symbolic of the intersectionality of Orlando, an area that Congresswoman Demings and Murphy have the honor of representing with me. And I'm proud of that diversity. And I know Congresswoman Demings and Congresswoman Murphy is proud of that diversity.